Well, sticking with the Jags when we move to running back here, you also like the rookie teammate of Trevor Lawrence from college there, Travis Etienne. What do you like about him? I know a lot of people have been bemoaning this landing spot and the comments about the three-headed nightmare and all that stuff. So you clearly are not buying into that if you have him as one of your favorite values. What do you like about Itian here with the Jacksonville Jags?
And that's kind of it, Wolf. Like, that's going to hold down the price, I think, all summer. The fact that they still have – people are going to say, well, they've got James Robinson. Look at how good he was as a rookie. They're going to have to keep him involved. They brought in Carlos Hyde, Urban's old guy at Ohio State. I think people are going to be able to spin that narrative all year that this is going to be a real sloppy committee and that ETN's, not going to have a clear runway. That might even be true. I mean, it might take a while for him to get up to speed. But as we saw, there was a lot of outrage over ETN getting work at wide receiver in this rookie mini camp they had a couple of weeks ago. But don't we kind of want that? Don't we want him to be used in the passing game? Is it a bad thing if he is seen as that Curtis Samuel guy that Herb had in Columbus, or as that Percy Harvin guy that Urban had down in Gainesville? That's not a bad thing, man. Get these guys the ball. I know that's going to be kind of a blow to, the Laviska Shenault truthers. And I'm kind of one of them, man. I love Viska too. A lot of people thought he was going to be playing that role as the guy who could line up in the backfield, the slot, out wide, anywhere. Etienne's got that same versatility. And this is a dude who, if he had come out the year before, like I thought he was going to, he would have been my number 2 guy in the class behind Taylor. I know his final season at Clemson was maybe a little disappointing to some people, but, Najee was a big jumper. I just don't see the gap between Najee and Etienne that a lot of other people see. I think they're right there together, but then Najee goes to Pittsburgh where he's instantly going to be slotted as a workhorse. I think we're going to be talking about Najee later with a take I have on him, but the role we're perceiving for Etienne isn't quite as attractive. But again, that's going to hold down that price. And I wouldn't, I don't think they spent first round draft capital on him to, give him 8 touches a week. I think they're going to be getting this cat the ball. And I think he's going to stay outside the top 20 running backs in the draft season. And, I'm definitely in on that price.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it on the head there, is you don't spend that draft capital if he isn't your guy. As good as James Robinson was, and we can all appreciate him, anyone who picked him up on the waiver wire will hold him very fondly in their hearts the rest of their lives after the season that guy put together as an undrafted free agent, often undrafted in fantasy as well. That being said, you think an undrafted free agent guy is going to take precedence to the guy this team spent the first round, traded back into the first round to go get? I think people are losing their minds there. And even if the worst case is a Percy Harvin role, I know you said they're seeing him work out and people are getting upset about that. That's what I saw that, and that got me higher on him the more and more I saw that. Curtis Samuel, there's just this track record under Urban Meyer of that role dominating. They consistently use him. Percy Harvin averaged 24 fantasy points per game in that role. Curtis Samuel averaged 25 points per game in that role. 25% of non-QB runs went to Harvin in that role. 28% of them went to Curtis Samuel. And those were receivers first versus running back first. So I imagine that's going to be a significantly greater share for Etienne. I love everything about the value you can get on this guy. It might take till mid-year. I know last year when you came on, you were all about Jonathan Taylor, and it was so frustrating because he looked so good, just couldn't get fully unleashed. And we saw why we were both so all in on him by the end of the year. It's like, man, if this was a full season of it, who knows what had happened. Right. So it might be another one of those cases where it takes a little bit, but if and when it clicks, I think it is going to be a beautiful marriage, that role for him. So I love it. I absolutely love that one. My favorite values are big rebound candidate in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think the doom narrative has gone way too far. The fact that this guy is falling to right around 36 in ADP right now, so the end of round 3, is just bananas to me. I have him as like a late to mid even second round pick. I think it's going to be a huge rebound for this guy. Even if it was just the fact that he has another year under his belt after not having an offseason to learn one of the most complex offenses in the league. The fact that we saw, Shady McCoy as a rookie with very minimal competition, only have 945 yards and 4 TDs, and then blossomed and bloomed for 1,672 yards and 9 TDs just by having another year to learn this offense. That could be enough for me to really be just like, all right, bad freshman year. He's going to rebound and as a sophomore just be a monster. But then we look at the fact that, they didn't bring back Damien Williams. They released him. I know he wasn't there last year, but they loved him just a couple years ago. So that's a nice check in the confidence marker for me. Le'Veon Bell not brought back as well. So both of those suggest the team is ready to go all in on this guy. And never mind the huge, the biggest part of the reason why I'm so high on him is this line improvement. They were the worst at run blocking team, 31st. So not the exact worst, but 31st. I mean, one of the worst teams at run blocking last year. They go and trade for Orlando Brown, who was, better than anyone on their line entering the year. They go inside Joe Tooney. Kyle Long comes out of retirement. It joins this team. And then Creed Humphrey, a center, was one of the best value picks. I mean, I've seen a lot of the memes like they've completed the last of the Infinity Stones for Pat Mahomes. And it's true. Like this line goes from they were labeled by PFF as the second most improved behind only the Chargers. And I guess you can't really argue that given how big that Chargers line improvement was. But the second most improved line, I think, is going to go a huge way into just changing, especially those red zone drives. How many times did we see him get just demolished before he could even get running at the goal line? Too many times to count. Plus, there was every single week, it seemed like he had a touchdown called back because of a hold or whatever it might be. So I think we're going to see a ton of positive TD regression in what will obviously be one of the highest powered attacks. I think he's going to be the true bell cow. I think we're going to get a lot of what we expected, maybe all of what we expected last year, but we're going to have to pay a third of the price as a third rounder and not a first rounder. I'll sign up for that every single day of the week. Do you think he can rebound, or are you a little bit more pessimistic about Clyde next year?
Yeah, you nailed it. Like you have to like him in this offense. And it was like, I think there's this impression that his rookie season was this, big disappointment, but not really. Like, he didn't keep up the usage. We saw him like in the first month of the season or whatever, averaging over 20 touches a game. And that kind of fell off to like 12, 13 later on, but he did get a little banged up. As you mentioned, that line wasn't very good. And all those upgrades, by the way, I think, we also forgot about the Duvernay Tardif coming back from the opt-out season, the guard. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, like I think the one thing for the TD regression to happen, and I think that probably is going to happen to some degree, like we need to see him get those goal line carries, though. Yeah. We kind of he didn't get those after the first few weeks of the season. Those started going to, Darrell Williams.
Travis Kelce, like they've got so cute.
Right, yes. Like Travis Kelce was getting more cracks at the goal line as a runner than CEH was. And we don't want that, obviously. I kind of think that's going to swing back. I don't think that Andy Reid has forever ruled out him as a goal line back. He didn't catch 60 or 70 balls. He probably never will in this offense, but he definitely added value as a receiver and is going to continue to do so. So, yeah, I think he's a real nice bounce back candidate. And the fact that people are going gaga over a lot of the second year backs, but not really Clyde. They're all in on Cam Akers. I think, you're going to see maybe Antonio Gibson and Dobbins and Swift go ahead of CEH in a lot of drafts. Yeah, so he's one of those guys I would feel really comfortable with, middle of the second round on.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.